Okay, so thank you so much for giving me your time today.
Yes,
really excited to chat with you. So one of the questions that we've been asking is, why drag? What is the importance of drag to you, and how has drag changed your life?
Well, why I started because it just looked fun, and it was a different outlet because I've been dancing my whole life, but it just seemed like a more exciting way to perform. So I just decided to do it. But over the years, it has meant so much more to me because it has helped me become the person that I am today already. And it really has opened not only like my eyes, but people in my family. It's opened their eyes to this lifestyle and this thing that started off as a hobby that could become a full-blown career, you know, as hard as you work for it. And it's meant that much to me because basically my family has been thrown into this world as well, and they come to the shows where some of them I would never have thought that they would even attend a drag show or even go to a gay club, but they come and support and have so much fun. So when you ask why drag, it's because I know personally it really does bridge the gap with confuse people on what they don't understand about the lifestyle, which really you don't have to understand anything. You just have to enjoy the person that's doing it, that's entertaining you. We do it to entertain people. We don't do it to hurt anyone's feelings. We don't do it to poke fun at anyone. We do it because it's entertaining, and that's what we love to do.
Yeah. Okay, great answer. Thank you. So the next question that I wanted to look at is, in your first part, you were talking about this idea of folks not knowing much about the culture of drag. And so I guess through not only your performing, but also through your lived experience, how do you believe drag changes the culture and the minds of people?
Probably just, it really depends on the person. Like I feel like I'm an open book already, so people already they may see me as this, like, you know, beautiful, you know, woman or queen, but I really am just a really down-to-earth person, and with hosting my shows, they can kind of feel that, and it lets them know, like, oh wow. And sometimes I come from the same place as a lot of these people come from. When they say their hometown, I tell them I grew up in a certain place, and they'll be like, oh my God, like I grew up there too, you know. So it's more relatable, where people can say we have way more in common than we don't. Right. There's been a lot of questions about pronouns and identity and things around drag. And so from your perspective, how should folks think about pronouns when they're addressing or they're trying to connect with a drag queen? What I've gotten, I mean, I come from back in the day where this wasn't really like a conversation. We all called each other girl anyway. You know what I mean? We would all say, hey girl, you know, even the boys, we would like, hey girl. So I don't, how a lot of these younger people are now, all I can do is just respect their wish. And if I say it wrong, don't get offended, because I don't know. But I don't ever think to lead with, oh, my name is such and such, what are your pronouns? I don't think to lead that way. I just be like, oh, hey, hun. That's why I stopped saying girl and stuff. I just say, oh, hey, hun, or hi, baby. You know what I mean? And then they'll say, you know, we'll introduce ourselves, and then they'll go around by saying like what their pronoun is. And then I'll go with that, because I can't do anything but, you know, respect how someone wants to be treated, or how someone wants to identify, or how they feel, because that's what we just wanted to be regular people. So we didn't want to be called the F word. We didn't want to be called. We didn't want to be called. We just wanted to be called. We just wanted to be people. So I can't knock them for it. I don't practice that like personally, because I've been going by, you know, he, she, her, queen. You know what I mean? You know what I'm saying? I've been going by all that for so many years but I do try my best to at least respect what they say, even though I may not agree or you know, understand the whole thing. what am I gonna do? Argue with you about how you want to be talked to? No, I'm not gonna do that. Right. I love that. Thank you for sharing that. So let's switch gears a little bit. How has drag impacted you? It really did. Well, one, I kind of thought it was something, I didn't think it was something I would ever want to do.
Mm-hmm.
But growing up, like my dad was basically a drag king because he dressed up as Michael, he performed as Michael, got flown across the world as Michael.
Yeah.
So it was just something that wasn't too far away. I just liked performing, and me stepping into my first gay club where the drag show was going on, I saw a queen do Janet Jackson, and I was obsessed with her. So I thought in my head, like, oh my God, like I could actually like be her. Like I could actually pretend to be her like I've done in my living room for a million years. And once I got into drag, I, like the first day I did drag, I got into a car accident the very next day. So it took me about a little over a year to recover. And I just was hoping like, if I recover fully and I can still dance, I'm gonna go and I'm gonna try this little hobby out just to see what it's like.
Yeah.
And it happened, and you know, all these like 19 years later, you know, here I am.
Yeah, yeah.
You know what I mean? But it has definitely changed my life. It's given me an opportunity to really become who I feel God wanted me to be, because I wasn't confined by anybody's like way that I should live my life. I was doing this, and I had support, so that made it a lot easier for me to just do it very comfortably and do it very honestly. I didn't have to, like, you know, I mean, of course in the beginning you had to hide your drag a little bit, but I couldn't hide it for too much longer because I mean, you know, it started to grow, and I was like, you know what, this is what it is, and I'm gonna go for it. And it has really changed my life. I don't think I would be in the position I'm in right now if I chose any other profession. I can't really see myself doing anything else.
I love that. One of the other thoughts we have, we know that, you know, drag and the community offers a lot of support to LGBTQ people, specifically LGBTQ youth. I guess the question that I would love to ask you is, thinking about your childhood or your background, what type of support did you need as a child?
As a kid, I would have enjoyed maybe more of a conversation around it, because I mean, as a kid, most parents know, you know, okay, my son's a little sweet. He's a little sweet, and you know, I just wish that it would have been more of an in-depth conversation, but I don't think like anybody really knew much about it for them to even have that kind of conversation. The conversation I would get would just be, are you gay? And at that, you know, when you're young, like you don't really necessarily know exactly, you know, what. I didn't really realize I was gay until I was like 15 or 16, where I know some people now, like they know it at like 10 or 11, and they're very comfortable. Like my partner, he came out in junior high, and I'm like, I could have never done that. Like I didn't feel I would have ever been comfortable doing that. Me growing up, like we were allowed to have feelings, but you weren't really allowed to have feelings. You're a kid. You know what I mean? You do what I say and that's it. So you weren't really, you know, given the safe space to express yourself. So everything was like kind of bottled in. And I think when I found my tribe, it was more them that was like, I saw them being just free with themselves and, you know, like unapologetically gay as they wanted to be. And I took that on, and I just started to, you know, become more of myself. And I think like my family probably would have appreciated that more too, because who knows if I never like jumped into this space, like the person that I would be.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yes. There are folks who sometimes come to drag spaces as a spectator. What should folks who are on the outside know about the importance of being in spaces with drag kings and drag queens?
Well, I mean, they should know that when you come in there, it's gonna be an experience. It's supposed to be a fun experience if you come in there wanting to have fun. If you're coming in there already expecting to have a bad time, you're probably gonna have a bad time.
Right.
You know what I mean? But you have to understand that we're just doing a job like everybody else is doing a job. Our job is to entertain. Our job is to make people laugh and make people smile. And if you don't come in there already with that mind state, then you're not gonna get the full experience of what a actual like drag bar can really mean for people. I've met people where they have gone on first dates to drag shows and are still together, you know, and still as a couple coming to support the shows all the time, because that's where they met. That's where they connected, and it's always great. I love it more when now that kids are allowed in that space, because me seeing my dad as a child inspired me to like, oh, this is something that's so interesting to see little kids in the audience smiling and having fun, and I'm already knowing in my mind, like, this could be a trigger, a positive trigger for this kid to be like, I remember, maybe 7 years ago, I went to a drag show and this made me want to go jump into entertainment, or maybe this want to make me jump into dance or something like that.
Yeah, yes, I love that. Knowing everything that's going on in the world, the ways that folks are trying to basically ban drag or keep folks from seeing drag, what are some things that maybe you've learned in the last year or so as things have kind of transpired that has helped you kind of stay above water?
Honestly, that these people are just uneducated in our lifestyle and our job, and if they, if you don't want to see drag, don't go to a drag show.
Right.
You know what I mean? Why bring a protest to a place that you don't like? Like, why? To me, I feel like it's a waste of time, and it's a waste of mental capacity for a few people to come and protest something that's not hurting anybody. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah,
it's not, we're not hurting anybody. And if we are, we're not hurting you on purpose. You know what I mean? If we're hurting you, that's because you came here with the intent to be hurt. You came with the intent to be angry. You didn't come here to have fun and celebrate with us. That, like, how I deal with it, I know what's going on. And thankfully, I have not come into personal view of it, or you know what I mean, because I don't know how I would actually react, because to me it's dumb. Like, it's what are you complaining about? Like, if you don't want your kid to go to a drag show, don't take your kid to a drag show.
Right.
It's that simple.
Right.
If you don't want to see it on TV, don't turn to MTV.
Right.
You don't have to do these things. We're not forcing it down your throats. It's open. We're open to everybody. If you want to come and see us, come see us. If you don't want to come and see us, you'll find one day you just might find yourself there, and you might have fun, but you're never gonna know unless you try. You're never gonna know unless you actually go or have a real conversation, and not some conversation that's so vitriol that you only want to argue, because, well, a lot of us, we do like to argue. You know what I mean? But I'm not gonna sit and argue with someone when I know for a fact I'm not gonna be able to change your mind.
Right.
So I just leave it. Like, I do my job, and I hope that the people that come and see me and my show and the entertainers that I perform with, that they leave with a smile on their face and not saying, oh, this was awful, I'm never gonna bring my children here. Do you know what I mean? Like, I just do my part to just make sure it's a good time and everybody leaves happy.
What is the impact of drag to the larger LGBTQ community?
It's what are they? It's like a drag show is like gay church.
Yes.
It's like gay church for us. Like, I love going to a drag show. I love because what got me into it was me going to drag shows and watching it. So, and I know what it has done for me. So I think with the drag community and the whole spectrum of us is like, we bring the joy. We're like the, I mean, I'm not gonna go this far, but I'm gonna go this far. We're like the Beyoncés and the Taylor Swifts and the Janet Jacksons and the, and the drag kings. We're those kind of celebrities to these people, or we're probably the closest thing they'll get to actually to that celebrity if you go to, like, see a girl do, like, impersonations. So that we're a huge part of just the collective, because everybody goes to a drag show. All of them, gay, lesbians, non-binaries, like they all commune at the same place.
So it really is a beautiful community. What piece of advice would you give to a teenager now that might be thinking about doing drag, or just thinking, or might be just struggling with existing?
Well, with struggling with existing, I would probably say, we've all been there. And all we can really hope is that we have someone that supports us enough that we still feel like we matter. Do you know what I mean? Like, I knew, like, I mean, we've all kind of been in that space, maybe some more than others, But for me, when I was in that space, I did know that I have people that do love me. You know, if this situation has really brought me down to here, then I'm gonna go over here and I'm gonna be around people that uplift me, that make me feel wanted and make me feel special. Why would I continue to, you know, even if it's in your own household? I used to close myself off in my room just because I knew something was going on, but I just didn't want to discuss it with anybody because I knew I didn't feel like it was that safe of a space. As an adult now, I knew it was a safe space because of the conversation I have with my dad now. It was a safe space, and I could have done it a long time ago, but we didn't grow up like that. And if they're gonna like try and like start doing drag, you do it for the reasons that make you feel good. Don't do it because you want to make a lot of money. Don't do it because you want to be on TV, because you're not doing drag for the right reasons. Like I started doing drag because it made me feel good, and me seeing smiles on people's faces made me feel better. I do this job for me, but over these years, I've learned that I'm inspiring a new batch of younger queens too as they come up. So I also do it for them. I try to keep I like to tell a lot of people, it's like I've gotten to this position by never being shady, never doing anything scandalous. I've never had to do that because I banked on this is what I love for myself. I've never had to compete with anyone. So just make sure if you're gonna do drag, do it for the right reasons. Don't do it because you see your friend do it. Don't do it because you want to go on TV, because that you're not gonna be happy with yourself at the end of it.
Right. Okay, so now one of our fun questions. What has been one of like the performances that you have that like lives with you?
Probably when I won Queen of the Desert in Palm Springs, because it was my first like dive into like a pageant, and I was able to perform my favorite Janet performance in front of a room of like 600 people, and it was the biggest audience I've ever performed in front of.
Wow.
So it was and for me to win, it was just one of those moments of like, okay, this is what I'm supposed to be doing. Even after so many years of already doing it, that moment right there, I was like, okay, I can see this turning into a career, because it wasn't a full-blown career at that time.
Yeah.
I was still working, you know, a 9-to-5. I was still just doing like little gigs from here and there. And then after that, it really did kind of like catapult me into like the real like career lane of drag. So that's probably the one that sticks out the most to me, was me winning Queen of the Desert, because I was able to perform a performance that I have done since I was 14 years old, and to be able to bring that in front of all those people and they take it like they did, it was amazing for me.
What has been maybe a not so fun moment?
Maybe like a year and a half ago, I was doing a brunch outside, and at some numbers I do like a cartwheel, and I saw a clear space, but I didn't see like something that was like right here, and I did the cartwheel, and like my entire like shin like slammed on it, and it shattered like all this, and I was like, it was funny, but I was like, now when I do a cartwheel, I'm gonna make sure that it is open space, no tables around. It's gonna be on an empty stage, because you know, we don't want that to happen again. And maybe another one, way back in the day, I was doing a performance, and I maybe like my nail or something got caught in my wig. So as I was pulling my hand off of it, my wig came off. But at that point, I already had like long hair already. So as I felt the wig come off, I like pulled my hand back and pulled my ponytail and the wig cap off, and then just kind of like brushed my hair around, and everybody was like, why did you do that? I was like, I didn't. I was like, the wig was stuck on my nail. The wig was stuck on my nail or my ring, and I couldn't get it off. So I was like, oh God, I had to improvise. But that was probably the one of the funniest ones.
So the last question that we have for you, and you know, to kind of wrap this up, what advice, what words of affirmation do you have for folks who are finding solace in drag queens or the drag community?
What advice would I have is just love. I mean, it sounds so cliche, but if you lead with love, you don't really have to worry about anything else. Like, that's what I've learned. I keep bringing up my dad because I mean he's literally I talk to him every day, and he's not a philosopher, but he's a philosopher. Like he tells me all the time, like, you know, our family, we lead with love, so we don't gotta put on. Like, don't go into a space to put on. You know, go in there and be yourself. If that group doesn't really feel you, somebody else, another group will probably feel you. Like, just go in there and be yourself, and you'll find your space when you're supposed to find your space. And just go in with positivity. That's really it. Go in with positivity, and don't let nobody walk all over you. That's another thing. Don't let nobody walk all over you just because they're a nice person or that you feel like they're your only friend. Like, you know, stand up for yourself, but do it in a very respectful way, because you get a lot further when you lead with just positivity and just happiness. Because if you go in angry and mad and bitter, and I've had those moments where I've been angry and mad and bitter going into a competition or going into a show, and it doesn't pan out well. Like, it doesn't pan out well. So just go in with positivity and just pray that every day is just going to be a good day, and whatever bad comes, it's only going to be for that moment.
I love to see it. Well, thank you for your time.
Thank
Jazmyn.
you.
I really appreciate it.
Of course.